All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome to probably the best, most epic, most valuable team call that we will have all year. Holly and I are like losing our minds that we have Scotty Hobbs here. And I know a lot of my coaches, when I posted that Scotty, we were going to be on our call, they were like, I'm clearing my schedule. I love his YouTube videos. He's so inspirational. So people are so excited to hear from you. And I think this is such like a fangirl moment because I know that when Holly and I were new coaches, we like idolized you. So actually having you here is like crazy. It's mind blowing. So we are so excited to hear from you. So I just want to go over his stats for you guys because I don't think you understand how amazing this is. So he is a 14-star diamond, and that is just mind blowing. 5-time elite coach, elite top 10 in 2014. So he was one of the top 10. An SC10 All-Star legend, 81 consecutive months, 81, like mind blown. He is a member of the Million Club and he mentored 2 of his personally sponsored coaches, and they are now in the Million Club. He is a former coach advisory board member. For those of you who don't know what that is, Beachbody hand selects like a very small number of coaches. Like I'm not sure how many, I think it's maybe 4 or 5, Scotty, 6. And for a year, they meet with the corporate team and they give their input on what should be happening in the coach network. So to be selected for the coach advisory board is like probably the highest honor. And he was a summit workshop speaker, and he just has had phenomenal success with the business. And I really wanted him to share his story and his lessons because I think we are all new coaches, and Scotty is somebody who's been through it all and he made it. And I want you just to hear what it took and his insights on it because he's just so inspirational. If you don't leave fired up after this, then I don't know if coaching is for you, quite honestly. So Scotty, I'm going to hand it over to you. You can unmute yourself and take it away.
All right, I'm ready to go. So just give me an idea, how much time do we have? Because I can get, you guys know my YouTube, I can get going and like it's hard to stop. So
we're open, however much time you want to take.
Awesome. Well, I'm super excited to be here. I'm not gonna lie, like I ate a yellow container of quinoa and drank my Recover shake and had a purple of raspberries like as fast as I possibly could. I came in here and realized I had like raspberry seeds in my teeth. So then I ran to the bathroom. So I'm glad I made it back. I'm here on time. I'm super excited to be able to share with you guys. I have some things that I'm going to go through. I'm going to speak very boldly and courageously about how much work it takes to get to where I'm at. But the one thing that I want you guys to know first and foremost is that on my team, we have a downline team now, 45,000, and I love every single one of them, even if they've never sold a product in their lives, even if they go inactive for 3 months and then get back on Shakeology. So if you listen to this call and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't make that many sacrifices, I don't want that, then just know that you're still like amazing and Team Beachbody is still going to completely transform your lives. And as I mentioned, I'm going to share one tip with you that has nothing to do with my story, but is going to help each one of you guys recruit coaches to your team. See, I'm just going to go with this. So the first thing is one thing that I always ask people, and I ask myself every single day, are these 4 questions. I just want you guys to nod, yes or no. The first thing is if somebody follows one of our meal plans and does a 30-minute workout a day and drinks Shakeology, will their life be better? Okay. Number 2, if someone reads good books, these are the 4 I'm studying right now. If someone reads good books and applies what they learn in those books, will their life become better? Yes or no? Okay. Now, if somebody is to go out and make genuine connections and make friends with people and just get to know them and ask them questions, learn about their life and listen to them, will their life be better by serving that person like that? Yes or no? Okay. And now the last one is if they're out doing that and they notice somebody's doing something good, like they're a very present mother, or they're helping volunteer at the school, or they're doing a fitness program, even if it's not Beachbody, and they lost 5 pounds or 10 pounds, and they just give them a shout out, say, man, you're incredible for working on yourself. Is their life going to be better by going out and uplifting other people? Okay, yes. So my last question in that series of questions is, then who should be a Team Beachbody coach? Like, who should be a member of your team? And so that's the question I ask myself every single day. And in all reality, everybody has the ability to improve their life by being a Team Beachbody, by being a part of Team Beachbody and being a coach. So it gives me unlimited amount of courage to ask somebody to join my team or to be a coach on my team or to be a challenger in my challenge group, because I know that their life will be better by being connected with us and what we do as Team Beachbody in general. And then what I can give them on top of that. So I want you guys to think about that. If you're not recruiting coaches or you're not recruiting challengers or you're afraid to go out and talk to people, I want you to realize the gift that you have to people. And if you're not giving it to people, you're being a disservice to them. And I'm going to tell you what, Ashley or me, we're going to find them. If you don't talk to them, they're going to find us when they need the help. And we want you to find them and we want you to help them. So I'm going to tell you briefly about my story. But I'm going to start with opposite of what you mostly hear people tell this doom and gloom story about how hard their life was. I'm going to tell you the other story. But before I do that, Beachbody does not guarantee any level of success or income. Each individual coach's income or success is related to their hard work, diligence, and skill. There you go. So for 3 years, we've made over $1 million with Beachbody. Okay, that's $1 million. It's something that I think I calculated it once. It would have took me 25 years at my old job to make $1 million. My old job that I worked 12 hours a day at just 5 years ago would have took me 25 years to earn that much income. And I think about that, 25, I would be almost 60 years old before I made $1 million at my job. And it's not about the $1 million, but I want you guys to understand the blessings and opportunities that can come through this. And I'm starting with that versus the hard part, so you can really be like, okay, this dude can teach me something. My dad is 60 years old. He had 6 more years to work. He's right here outside the door playing with my kids, playing Power Rangers right now on the floor and enjoying life, spending time with people he wants versus fixing copying machines and doing what he did before. And that's a gift that I was able to give him starting 3 years ago because of the hard work and the sacrifices that I went through. My mom's been doing that for me for 5.5 years. She's at her house right now. She used to be miserable at her job, getting at an elementary school, working with the troubled kids, getting kicked under the table, getting spit at. And she just did that because it's the job that she had and that she'd been at forever. And now she gets to do stuff that she loves to do for me. And so I think it's pretty cool what we can do with this business. And there's a lot of other things we could talk about, like this house that I'm sitting in right now is the house I bought when I first got married to Gabby 11 years ago. And we paid it off with Beachbody income earnings 5 years ago, which is pretty incredible. And then another thing on top of that is, because I'm telling you this because you can be smart with your money as you begin to earn money, and I'm going to teach you guys a little bit about that. We've also been able to purchase in full and pay for 2 other vacation homes that are equivalent to more than $1 million that are paid for and we own, that we rent to people. So we give people the opportunity to enjoy family vacations. And in all reality, if this Beachbody thing didn't exist now, the income from those homes is more money than I made at my old job. So all I would have to do is sit here and promote that house on social media, which I don't really need to do because I have a company that does it for me. But I tell you that because there's much more to life that is possible for you out there once you begin to see that other people have done that. And I remember that happened for me at a Success Club trip in about, it would have been 11 months into my journey when I talked to Josh Spencer. And he was the guy I looked up to. Like Ashley, how you're saying, Scotty's the guy we looked up to. Josh was the one I looked up to. And I remember one thing, and this is where I began to really understand the compensation plan, is he said, Scotty, well, I asked him, I was like, dude, Josh, it was kind of like a quiet whisper outside the men's bathroom after one of the receptions. I was like, Lindsay told me you make $7,500 a week with Beachbody. I was like, is that true? And he laughed at me. He's like, huh. He's like, that's what I miss out on because I didn't understand how to place coaches properly when I built my wife's business, helped build Melinda's business. And I was like, wait, what? Like, how does this work? And that's when I began to study it and understand it and really take it to the next level with my own goals. So I want you to, I tell you that up front to let you know that there's a lot possible to you. Like, I used to be the guy that worked 12-hour days at my job. I sent Gabby to work at the Hilton Garden Inn at night. So I worked 5 to 5. She would leave at 3, drop the 2 girls we had at the time off of the babysitter. And then I would get home at 5 and I would pick them up from the babysitter. She would get home at 11:30. I would be in bed at like 11 because I would be up at work the next day at 4 to get back to my old job. And this is prior to Beachbody. And I remember I used to like drive in and I would be like a little bit envious of some of the guys. Like, I knew my neighbor was a lineman for the city electric company, made double what I made. And I'm like, man, like he like, how come I'm stuck in this place where I have to work 12-hour days, I have to work every overtime shift, and I have to make my wife go to work? Because when I envisioned my life, I don't know about you guys, but I never envisioned, like when I got out of college or out of high school, getting ready to go into college, I didn't ever envision like having to work 12-hour days in a factory with like a jumpsuit suit on, covered in metal shavings, and with miserable people. And then having my wife gone at nights and just being like a single father at night, basically. It's not what I pictured, but somehow I got there. And I know many of you guys get to this place, you're like, how the heck did we get here? And that's how I felt. And it wasn't until a neighbor did exactly what every single one of you guys should do. He knocked on my door, and he just had this big smile on his face, and he had a plate of brownies. And I remember I let him in. I didn't know who he was. And he's like, hey, I'm a new neighbor. I just moved here from Utah. I heard you have kids the same age as my kids. I'm just looking to make friends. Okay. And so I let him in, but only because he had brownies. So he came in, and remember, this is prior to my first P90X journey. And he came in, and I remember just talking to him, making friends with him. He was friendly. He was energetic. And he also had these huge bulging biceps sticking out of his short sleeve t-shirt. And he just looked extremely fit. And I just remember saying like, dude, how the heck? Because I was chubby. I was about 40 pounds heavier than I am right now. And I'm like, dude, how are you like so fit and healthy? And he's like, well, I do these workouts and I strength train the high school football team. I'm the special teams coach. I was like, oh, cool. And then he did the next thing that every single one of you guys should do. He said, do you want to come work out with me? He's like, I'll show you how to do it. And so he invited me to come work out with the high school kids and strength train with the kids. The only thing is they strength trained at 6 o'clock, and I worked at 5 o'clock in the morning. So I couldn't go. So I said, do you know anything else that I could do? And he said, you should try that PX90 workout. So I tried P90X. That's a joke. Everybody calls it PX90 or all kinds of funny things. But I just committed to it. I didn't have a Beachbody coach. I just got online. I got the workout. I got the meal plan. And I got an accountability partner, which was my manager at the time at my job. And we did P90X every morning before we got to work. And I didn't really follow the nutrition plan, but I like cut out the junk and just ate chicken breasts and broccoli. So I wasn't eating the best food, and raw oatmeal with nothing. And so I went from 189 pounds to 145, which is very light. Like I feel very light right now, and I weigh 165. So I weighed 145. I lost 40 pounds. I had abs for the first time in my life. I was 29 years old, and I was just like, even though I was working 12-hour days and getting up early to work out 60 to 90 minutes, I felt on top of the world. I felt on fire. And I remember completing the program, and I posted my pictures on Facebook, and I found P90X group, and I found Facebook groups. I put it in there, and people were like, oh, that's so inspiring. And they're asking me questions. I began to help people. And I felt like I was in a Shark Tank because I was in a group called the P90X group. And I had like 30 coaches try to recruit me to their business. And all of them scripted me. So I'm teaching you guys something I don't usually teach or I don't usually talk about. They all sent me scripts. And I was like, this is the most disgusting, icky feeling thing I've ever experienced in my life. I will never become a coach. And I was an avid Call of Duty player back in the day. That's all I did when I got home from work when the kids went to bed is play Call of Duty and drink a couple beers, and then I wake up and go to work. And so like my language is a little different back then. I didn't cuss, but I was like, I remember getting on Facebook one day and I was like, if any of these Beachbody Coach people could actually convince me to become a coach, I would destroy it. That's what I said. And it sounds funny to say now, but that's what we said when we played call. We're going to destroy this team. That's how we talked back then. But it just sounds funny to think about now. I saw it on my time hop. But I knew that the program worked. I knew that I was the hardest working person that I know. I've been like moving pipes in potato fields since I was like 13 years old. So I can work hard. I can sacrifice, work hard. I knew I could do that. But I was like, not with that. I'm not going to do that thing because that's just gross how that happened. But I was in love with helping people that were asking me for help. So I began to help people. I created a fitness accountability group. We began to help people. It was called the Staying Fit Family. We started helping people, serving people. I was finding people's blogs about doing workouts, finding people on Facebook groups. And I'm like, yeah, they're like, these people are trying to sell me Shakeology. I was like, I know, it sucks. Like, I'll help you without doing that. And I began to help people. And I fell in love with that process, okay? And this is prior to becoming a coach. I want you guys to remember this. And I found Lindsay Matway on YouTube. She had a transformation very similar to mine. I'd made a transformation video. Take note of this, before I became a coach. So I was putting myself out there on social media and on YouTube. And so I found her, and she did something very different than everybody else. She said, can I call you? When I emailed her. And I said, sure. She called me and she told me her story. You guys heard her story just the other day on the National Wake Up Call. She told me that same story. And I remember while she was talking about her story, I remember sitting there and she was talking about this couple $100,000 worth of medical debt. And that she was able to walk away from bartending and she was taking care of her daughter and slowly paying off that medical debt with her Beachbody income earnings. And I was like, no, not for me. And she's like, dude, but you're doing exactly what I'm doing. You're just not getting paid for it. And I was like, I know, that's fine. I love doing it anyway, so it doesn't matter. And so, but the thing is, what I didn't tell her, what I did tell her is, it's not for me. I'm not going to do it. I don't have time for that. I don't think my wife will be on board. Those were the front I was putting up, the stories, the excuses. But in my head, the wheels were spinning like, maybe this is it. Maybe this is the thing you need to do. Like, I'm the person, I want you guys to take note of this. Like, I've never been about money. Like, I still live in the same house I lived in prior to Beachbody. I don't need really nice things. Like, even when I bought my brand new truck, it was like a 3-year-old truck. And I was already had hit the million club when I did that. So it's not about money for me, but I remember it's about freedom. Like, I didn't want to work until I was 65, 66 years old in a job that I hated. Like, I remember writing out on paper $1 million at my retirement. And I wrote out all these plans, how to pay off my house faster, how to pay off my school debt, how much money I would need to make at my job, how many hours I would have to work, and all the calculations I did and projections I made for moving up through the company, because I knew I could be a vice president at the company or a head foreman or a head engineer. All the calculations never equaled what my end goal in life was with a career, which was to make $1 million by the time I was 50 and to be able to not have to work from 50 and like retire at 50 versus 65. And so when I heard her talking about this, the wheels were spinning and I thought, maybe this is it. Maybe this is the way that I can begin to pay off my house so I can hit that goal of being a millionaire by the time I'm 50. And so I thought about it and I continued helping people. And I did take note of these things. I want you guys to take note. I did start to finish P90X 4 times before I signed up as a coach. And I'm not saying you need to sign up. You need to wait, do your work, like complete programs 1 million times before you sign up. But an important thing is that you do programs from start to finish. And you share your journey. And along that journey, I probably over that year started 30 people on their P90X journey and helped them finish it without ever getting paid. They got it from Amazon or Craigslist or eBay or wherever they got it from, because I wasn't signed up, and I would help them no matter what. And I was in love, absolutely in love with that process. Like, I would get to my work and I couldn't wait to open up my Staying Fit family group and see like what everybody was up to. I was in love with that. But I was afraid to become a coach because I didn't have time. I was shy. I was very quiet. I had a lot of self-esteem issues still that I was still working through. And I didn't think it was possible for me. I wasn't like a Barbie doll, obviously, like my coach, Lindsay, who was super successful. And the other thing I want you guys to know is that when Lindsay did that call, I thought she was the top, most important, first signed up coach in the entire company. But do you want to know how long she was a coach when we had that phone call? For 3 months when she told me that story. Because I started a year after her. And I had that call with her almost 9 months before I signed up. So when she did that call with me, she was only 3 months in the business. So take note of that as well. That her confidence and belief and talk about where she was going with her business and what she was going to do with it inspired me. So she breathed that belief into me. So I continued this journey, and then this is a story that almost everybody knows. If you watch my YouTube videos, is April 11th, 2011. When my third daughter, Ellie, was born. And she's now almost going to be 7, which is crazy. But this was 18 days after her birth. Remember, I worked at 5 o'clock in the morning. I remember going to the lockbox at the end of our cul-de-sac. I would get the mail. And because I worked 12 to 12, took care of my girls by myself, and then went to bed. Like I was in this habit of like grabbing all the mail like once a week, chucking all the junk mail in the shipping department where I ran. And then I would see the bills. So I kind of had them ready to do fast because I had to watch the kids by myself. And I'd put them in there in my lunchbox, and then like I could do it quickly when they got to bed. And so this day I had the hospital bill, the anesthesiologist bill, the hospital, like all of them, the doctor bill. And like, I'll just be straightforward with you. It was about $3,800. Okay. And I'm going to tell you guys true numbers about my life and what it was like before. Those bills added up to $3,800. I made $1,820 every 2 weeks after taxes, insurance, 401k, working 12 hours a week. Or 12 hours, that wouldn't be very much, 12 hours a day. And so it's $910 every 2 weeks. Gabby made about $300 every 2 weeks. So she made like $600 a month. I made like $18. So if you do the math, that's like $2,400. Our mortgage was $1,500. So we have $900 usually extra for food and gas and electric and diapers and all that stuff. But she is out of work, so we're not getting paid. She doesn't have paid maternity leave. So we're living on $1,800 a month at this time with $1,500 mortgage. That leaves $300. And then you get the bill of $3,800. And that morning, like, I just felt like the world was spinning around me. Like there was this heavy weight on my shoulders and on my chest, and I was scared. And I just didn't know what to do. And it's like, have you guys ever felt like that before, where you just feel this overwhelming, like you have no control over anything? Well, that day, I want to tell you guys that my fear of not knowing how to take care of my family and provide for them became greater than my fear of failing as a coach. And that's the day that I went all in. And when you share the numbers, I can't even remember what I had to like calculate it when I sent over this stuff. That's the day that I decided that I would do whatever it took. And that's the day that I signed up. And that's the first month that I hit Success Club 10. And I've never missed that goal ever since. And here's why. Because I got on a phone call with my coach, Lindsay. And I called her and I said, hey, Lindsay, I'm ready. Here we go. Let's rock and roll. Tell me what I need to do. I need to make $10,000. She's like, what are your goals? I told her, I need to make $10,000 with Beachbody a year. That will change our lives, because Gabby makes $12,000. If I make $10,000, we don't have to pay $2,000 towards the babysitter. And she can stay home. I'll work 12 hours and I'll see her at night, and it's going to change our lives. And she said, Scotty, I can't promise you $10,000, but I promise your income will be a direct reflection of the number of lives that you change. And so it was that day that I decided I would change as many lives as I possibly could so that I could bring my wife home from work and then eventually not have to work every overtime shift ever. And that was my big goal and my big dream as I started my journey. And so now the real work starts. Like, now I'm official as this coach. And I know that was a long story. That was like 27-minute long story right there. But I think it's important because there's a lot of backstory about how much belief I have grown in the products by using them for an entire year. How much belief there is because I was sharing on social media. I had haters tell me that you probably look blue in the face because of how much you talk about your body and your beautiful wife and your kids. Like, you should go to bleep, bleep, bleep. I got those messages before I ever became a coach. So I worked through all of those insecurities and fears prior to becoming a coach. And I became a coach, and I remember a cool thing that happened is that Lindsay went on that Success Club trip to Cancun that she talked about on the National Wake Up Call with Jeff the day after our Getting Started Right call. And so she's like, oh, hey, and if you have any questions, just go to the Coach FAQ or post it in the team page because I'm going to be in Mexico. So it forced me to take action and own my own business and not rely on her. So that was a huge thing. So if you're relying on your upline or your sponsor coach to help you or whatever it is, that support is important and vital in creating bonds and strong relationships and happiness in your work, but you've got to take ownership and start building your team from the beginning. Like I took ownership from day one and said, hey, we're Team Dynasty and this is what we're going to do with it. I didn't say we're Bombshell Dynasty. Like I just kind of took my own thing with it and ran with it. And then that next week, or like it was like 2 weeks later, I saw all of these coaches on a cruise ship. Later to find out that was a Success Club trip, working out with my hero at the time, Tony Horton. And I remember being so mad that they were on a cruise ship and I was sitting in my cubicle. And once again, I told Lindsay, I was like, I called her when she got back, how do I go on that trip? Like, you're on a trip, they're on a trip, I deserve to be on a trip, I'm a hard worker. And she said, you've got to hit Success Club 10 every single month. Because at the time that year, you had to hit Success Club 9 out of 12 months and sign one coach a month. And so I said, done. And remember, I signed up in April. So I needed to hit Success Club every single month from April through December. So I set that goal and I hit it. But what I want you guys to understand now is like how hard it was. Okay, how much work I put into that. I set my goal for $10,000 a year. I was going to help as many people as possible. I was going to go on that trip, and then I was going to retire my wife. Those were my goals. Very clear, concise goals of what I wanted and what it meant to me. Now, the thing that many people don't know is I didn't have a laptop. I didn't have a smartphone. I used to have it in here, but I had a little Nokia phone that was like this skinny and like this big. It was a Nokia music player. I thought it was so cool. But it was probably one of the biggest blessings I ever had as a brand new coach because it had a little thing for one of those mini SD cards. I downloaded the Slide Edge, which is similar to the Compound Effect, Millionaire Next Door, Think and Grow Rich, and a series called The 90 Days of Excellence by Craig Holliday. I put those in there, this little SD card. I had no access to the internet, and I was a manager or a leader at my work. And for 12 hours a day for an entire year, I had that Nokia player, my phone, in my ear playing Think and Grow Rich, Millionaire Next Door, and the Compound Effect. And I listened to those over 60 times in my first year. So I knew without a doubt that I would be a millionaire next door. I would be rich in relationships, money, time. Millionaire Next Door, by the way, is not just about being rich money-wise, rich in life. So I knew those principles, and if I applied them, I would be that. My efforts would compound. And so I had undeniable belief, not just in the company and the products, what I'd seen Lindsay and Josh do, what I'd seen the products do for me, but I also had belief that if I apply these things, even though I'm an ex-cocaine addict, ex-alcoholic from my early 20s, that from that day forward could completely change my life by applying these principles. So I listened to them over and over. And I didn't have a smartphone. I didn't have a laptop. I did my coach training at my neighbor Brian's house. That was 3 houses down over here. I did my Getting Started Right call with Lindsay because I had the sketchy cell phone provider at the time because it was only $49 a month, which I didn't have the best service. So I used his phone. And I did all of that from his house. And then remember, guys, on top of that, I was going to work at 5 o'clock in the morning, coming home at 5, watching my 3 little girls, ages 3.5, 1, and like 2 months old by myself. I would feed them, bathe them after a 12-hour day at a job that I hated. I would put them in bed, and then I would work on my business from 8 o'clock. My goal was 8 to 10:30 every single night. And then I'll go to bed at 11 and be up at 4. Soon after 4 or 5 months of working like that, from 8 to 10:30-ish, I was, yes, so in love with it, but my team began to grow. I began to have more responsibilities, leading a team and mentoring others, that I was now working for until 12:30. 12:30, I would shut it off no matter what, because I had to be up at 4:30, skip the shower, run to work, and then get my shower in at lunch when I took my little jog, listen to personal development. But that's how hard I was working. That's how many sacrifices I made. And I want you guys to know that I did that 7 days a week. Like I don't know one day that I missed in 365 days of working on my daily, I call it the daily 10 list of things I do. I have it on my YouTube channel. But I did those 10 things every single day, and I didn't go to bed until I was finished doing those things. And every single day, like every day. And I still played Call of Duty one night a month with my best friend, but he would come over at 9:30 and I would work as hard as I could from 8 to 9:30 on the vital behaviors, on invites, and answer as many questions as I could, check my groups, and then I would play. And that was on a Saturday night that I would do that. So that's how much work I was putting in, and the reality of what it was. And I set small goals. I remember when I earned my first $50, I got internet from my house, so I wouldn't have to use my neighbor's internet. When I earned my first $300, I got a used laptop off of Craigslist. And one thing that I didn't mention is when I got my sign-up money, when I bought my first bag of Shakeology, I was buying and selling things on Craigslist to make extra money to support while Gabby was gone. So I took the money I got from buying Xboxes, cleaning them up, rebundling them, selling them on Craigslist for $20 profit or $30. That's how I signed up. So I love when someone tells me they don't have any money to sign up, because I say, that's great, because that's why you need this. And that's exactly why I need it. So if you're serious, like you say you are, about wanting to lose these 50 pounds and how much you dislike your job, or how you don't feel fulfilled at your work, or you're underappreciated, underpaid, overworked like I was, then great. This is perfect for you. Now you just need to come up with a plan over the next 30 days on how you're going to gather that $160. Are you going to paint fences? You're going to roof someone's house? You're going to shovel for somebody? Like, go figure out what you're going to do and find the money, and then you can invest into it and follow that path that I did. So I love when I get objections like that, because I could show them what my story was like and what the struggle was like. So that's how it started for me. I remember I worked 7 days a week. I prior to Beachbody, or prior to doing this, I was sleeping. Like my lunch break was 12 to 1. I was napping. I had a huge comforter in my car. I would literally run out there, set my alarm for like 12:58, and I would sleep. The alarm would go off. I'd run in and start working again. So once I started Beachbody, I quit taking that nap, and I was taking a jog, and then I would like call 2 people, like schedule 2 appointments. And then I was working at nights, as you guys know, from 8 to 12:30. And here's the thing, guys. You want to know what my 1099 from Beachbody was at the end of that year? I was nearly working a full-time job, because it's like, remember, it's 10. What is that? What is 8 to midnight is 5 hours times 7 days a week is 35. I was working 35 hours. So I'm working basically 2 full-time jobs. I made $10,800 on my 1099 for all of that work in that first year. And I was sleeping toward the last 5 or 6 months. And I can explain this in a minute as I talk about how life is different now and I can do what I want with my time. But those last 4 to 5 months, I was sleeping only 4 hours a night. And I was exhausted and I was tired. But I could see the growth that was happening, and I could see that I was soon would be able to walk away from my job. So I was willing to take that sacrifice at that time. So here's the thing. At that time, I was so exhausted and tired and worn out. Like, this thing I once loved I still loved, but now I'm just exhausted. Like, I don't know how I can perform at work. I don't know how I can continue doing these workouts. I don't know how I can continue helping these people. And I felt like I was drowning and once again. And now I'm like, what the heck? Now I'm feeling like I'm drowning again, like before I started Beachbody. And I remember a conversation with one of my mentors, and she's a dear friend of mine. And I remember, as a grown man, I'm now 30 years old. I remember going out on my break, and I was overwhelmed, and I called her. And I was 8 months into my journey. And so I just finished my year, hit my Success Club 10. I'm like, I don't know how I can hit Success Club 10 ever again. Like, I ran out of people. I don't know anybody else. I don't know how I can do this. I have to do this another year. What? And I remember feeling like that and just tired. Like when you're exhausted and emotionally drained, you kind of feel despair sometimes. And I was feeling that. But she said something that completely changed my life. And then there was a trigger of another moment, which I'll share with you. But this moment, I remember her telling me, she's like, Scotty, I want you to pretend like you've just fallen, like you have this weight on your tied to your ankles, and you've just been thrown into an ocean or into the water. And you sink below the water, and you see the light, the ripples and the light, and you're holding your breath, and you start to sink. And you're looking up at the light, and you're reaching up, and you just see the light getting further and further away. And she's like, how's it feel? And I was like, I don't know how to say it. I'm like, I'm drowning. I can't breathe. And she's like, is that kind of how you feel right now? And I was like, and I started bawling, like tears rolling down my face. And I'm outside my work with my hoodie on, so none of the guys can see me. Because I'm like crying. I'm like, that's exactly how I feel. And she's like, I want you to picture a hand shooting through the water, and the water ripples, it shoots down. And she's like, grab onto that hand. And I visualized it as she was talking me through it, and I grabbed onto the hand. She said, and the hand pulls you up, and you come out of the water, and you take that first breath. And she's like, how do you feel? And I was like, oh, so much relief. Like, I feel amazing. Like, I can breathe. I'm alive. And she's like, Beachbody is that hand for you. It's that lifeline. She's like, your entire life, you're going to feel like that in this job if you don't change things. If you don't fight through this struggle and this pain, and you don't grab onto that hand, you're going to feel like that. And so I made that decision that day to do that. And then it was like a week later that I tell the story, the school bus story about, I'll just tell it briefly, but I was sick for 3 days. And it's funny how things happen in your life that help you take you to the next level, if you're open to seeing them or open to talking to the right person to help you have that moment, which would be a mentor in your life, or listening to the right audio, or going to an event. And I remember this day, like it was yesterday, I was sick with a man cold. Like, I was dying literally for 3 days. And my wife's like, hey, you'll probably feel better if you just get up, get dressed, take a shower, and go get Kina from the school bus. She's 6 years old at this time. And the school bus dropped off at the end of the cul-de-sac up here. So I did all that, and I was walking down to the school bus. And I remember the bus pulled up, and I remember the door opening, and I was only halfway there. Little 6-year-old girl comes to the entrance of the school, like of the door of the school bus, puts her hands on this rail, and she looks up at me, and it just stopped me in my tracks. Just tears. Once again, I'm a crybaby, I guess. Tears roll down my face, and I just see like this joy, this look in my 6-year-old daughter that I'd never seen before. Like, I'd never seen that, and it's because maybe I've been so preoccupied with work and myself, playing Call of Duty and drinking at night, that whatever it was, right? I don't know exactly, but I saw this look in her eyes, because she'd never seen her daddy come pick her up from the school bus before, because I'm always at work 5 days a week, and then every Saturday morning. And so I remember that day, and I remember having this moment that was like, this is much bigger than just bringing Gabby home from work. Like, you deserve to see, to give her every moment like that you possibly can. And how many moments have you missed like that? And how many will you continue to miss if you don't keep pushing through this pain and this challenge and this struggle that you're going through right now? How many more will you continue to miss? And that day I made the decision that I will never quit, and I will make it happen. But I also decided that I was going to do this as a full-time career for myself. Like, I was not going to have to work at a job that I was miserable at, that would take me away from my kids. And I would never have to miss a moment like that again. And so that day I also realized that if this guy, ex-cocaine addict, alcoholic, many problems that go much beyond that, could do this, could build a business like this, that I could teach, inspire, and mentor anybody to do it. That I could teach if I could do it, anybody could do it. Like, when I say anybody, I mean anybody. So that's when it became my mission, not just a job and a career I was creating on this as a part-time job, but my life mission and purpose was to help people, live the best versions of themselves, to live a happy, fulfilling life. You know, our motto, help people live a healthy, more fulfilling life, but also to help give the opportunity to parents out there that don't know how to build, don't have a retirement, don't know how to pay for their kids' school, that work too many hours, that commute too much, that spend more time away from their family than they would like to, or they're spending most of their lives with people that they don't enjoy being around, and they're missing out on the time with the people that they want to be around. So that's why I show up every single day with so much passion and excitement, because I know that there's somebody out there like me that I can help mentor and teach, completely change their life like that. So that's what pushed me through that moment right there, where I decided I could make this a full-time job for me. But what I want you guys to understand is that first $10.99 after that 1 year of $10,800, what that compounded into the next year, I didn't do anything else other than read 52 more books and continue to do the workouts and continue to invite people, continue to hit Success Club 10. I still acted like that brand new coach. And that next year it compounded to $112,000 a year, which was 3 times what my Beachbody income was. The next year it compounded to 370 something a year. And then it compounded to $1 million a year. And then it's been in that vicinity ever since. And I shared with you about retiring both of my parents and the life that's created for us. But if you look at it, you can look back and be like, man, that's just not worth it. I don't know if I could sleep 4 or 5 hours a night, work 35 hours a week on this Beachbody thing for $10,000 a year. Just not worth it. I could go work as a waitress at the Olive Garden or waiter at the Olive Garden and make $20,000. It just makes more sense. But that's if you look short term. This type of business is a business where you, like, what the efforts you put in and build over the year don't start over at 0 on January 1st of the next year. They stay where they're at, and then they can continue to compound. And that's one thing that many people don't understand about this business, and the importance of working so hard at it and being so passionate about it and putting all the efforts into doing your workouts, drinking your shake every day, following your meal plan, doing the personal development, and growing yourself. And here's the thing I want you guys to understand. When I was about getting ready to leave my job, like, there's going to be shiny objects. Like, there's going to be people come in and say, come do this. This is going to be much easier, or you can make more here. This is not going to be as much. You don't have to work out. You can come do this. It's much easier. Nothing is going to be easy in life if it's going to be worth it. Everything's going to be hard. And one of those opportunities that I had, like, obviously every network marketing company in the world, someone has approached me and said, you should come do this. You'd be great at this. And I'm like, do you not see what I do? Have you not watched one of my 3,000 YouTube videos? But I had a leader of my church who I love. He's the CEO of another network marketing company. And I didn't know that. But he saw the growth that I was doing and the changes that I made by reading or listening to those audios 60 times. He saw my confidence in the way I taught at church, the way I shared at church, the way I just was as a person on social media and in person. He saw that, and remember my 1099 was $10,800. He offered me a job for $250,000 a year to be a regional sales manager. That would be like being the Arnaud of Beachbody. He offered me a position in his job, to have a job working for him as a regional sales director, because he saw that I understood that process, because I learned that process doing Beachbody. You know how easy it would have been to say, leave this 12-hour, $32,000 a year job at the factory and my time.
It's hot. It's hot.
That's all right. You know how easy it would have been? Because that income was 45. Oh, wait. Okay. So do you know how easy it would have been when I was struggling and going through that trial to take my $10,000 Beachbody income and my $35,000 doing what I did at the factory and say, man, $250,000 a year to work 8 hours a day, to travel, to do what I love, like helping people, like mentor people in network marketing, let's say. It would have been easy, but I understood the vision by talking with, interviewing, listening to the top coaches in this company and understanding what it meant to create my own freedom. If I took that job, I would still be tied to his schedule, and I would still be traveling and being away from my kids. And my end goal, remember, was not to make 250,000 or $1 million or whatever it is. Nothing to do with money. My goal had to do with having enough money so that I would not have to work a job, that I could provide for my family and do something that I love at home. So you're going to have to make choices along your journey that align with what you actually want in your life. So to end this out, and I made a goal to end this by 60 minutes, and I'm going to make it. So to end this out, like, how is my life different? Because you guys, it may sound a little bit scary, sleeping 4-hour nights. You feel like you're drowned in, like all these things can sound a little bit scary. And remember, if you never want to build a business with this and you just love the products, that's okay. You're an amazing part of Team Beachbody and make up what we're all about. I'm going to share something with you guys just so you can understand this. This is one of my best friends from high school. He got flown out to be interviewed by Autumn and Carl and be on the 21-Day Fix infomercial. He signed up as a coach, and he's never sold one product, and he's been a coach for 4 years, but he can run around and play with his kids. So I love him just as much as I love my $1 million earner, Brigitte Linford or Jennifer Greenberg. He's just as important to me as they are. So I want you guys to understand that as we talk about all the sacrifices and hard work that this entails. And then one thing I want to mention about, as I mentioned, how is life different now? And I'm going to give this because I've been here for 7 years. I've learned the ups and downs and the shortcomings. I had a coach recently quit building their business. Like I've had that obviously multiple times over 7 years, but I had one who is a doctor. And he had this goal to be a 6-figure earner with Beachbody. Right? It's his goal. It's what he wanted to do. He's a 6-figure earner in his career as an MD. And one day he came to me last year and he said, Scotty, like I can't recruit coaches anymore to this business. I'm not going to focus on Success Club. I'm not going to recruit coaches. I'm still going to stay a coach. Like I'm going to drink Shakeology, but I'm not going to invite anybody to this business anymore. And I was like, why is that? He's like, well, like it appears to me that I'm the only one on my team that knows how to make any money. And so if I can't teach people how to make money, I'm not going to have them join my team and tell them they can make money if they're not making money. And I was like, I didn't know what to say. Like I'm just like any of you guys. Sometimes we're thrown off with like how to like help somebody or mentor somebody. And I said, dude, I'm not going to name his name. Dude, I love you. Like I'll support what you do. Like you're a great coach. You've helped a lot of people. And I'm here for you. Like I'll help in any way that I can. And then what I did is I reached out to a few of his coaches that I knew were working on building the business because they were at Summit that year. And so I connected with them. Hey, you guys can come meet with us. I didn't want them to feel alone. And I was talking to one of the girls and, oh man, I was talking to one of the girls and she was a brand new mom. She made a sacrifice to come to Summit and she was competing in the Body Beast Classic. And she was nowhere near looking like any of the competitors. She didn't look like she belonged in a bikini fitness competition. But here's the thing. She had lost 100 pounds with the help of these programs and her coach. And I was like, that is incredible. You've had so much success as a coach to have the confidence to go on that stage in front of everybody, let alone like lose the 100 pounds, to get on stage and put yourself out there in front of 25,000 people. That's incredible. I love that. And I was like, how is your business? Because she's there at Summit to build a business, right? Like how's your business helped you? And she's like, you know what? She's like, I only make $300 to $500 a month. But if I didn't have that, when my baby, like, because I had that, when I had my daughter, because my fiance left me when I got pregnant, like I had to take care of the baby by myself. And with the help of the government and my $300 to $500, I didn't have to take a job. And I've been home with her for the past year. And if I didn't have those $500, I would have had to take a job and put my kid in a babysitter or leave them with a friend. And I was like, oh my gosh. Like, because you hear me talk about $1 million income or like a 6-figure income, but I don't want any of you guys ever to miss out on how much $500 a month can change somebody's life. And this leader missed that opportunity because he was so focused on a 6-figure income that he wasn't looking at how his people were being blessed and their lives were being changed. And so I want you guys to make sure that you understand that. Just like my friend Jake has never made a single dollar yet, but his life has completely changed. When you can see those blessings around you and you can focus on those, more blessings and more good things are going to come into your life as you focus on those. So how is life different for me now? I didn't go to a job at 5 o'clock this morning. I didn't have a stapler thrown at my head because something got shipped to Japan instead of Brazil, which is awesome. I didn't have to dodge that. I didn't have to wonder why the employees are packing bags or boxes that look like crap and teach 60-year-old guy how to rebox something, how to do something for the 80th time. I don't have to take my 10-minute break and be right back at my desk in 10 minutes or get in trouble for not sitting at my desk and doing my job. I got to watch my little boy come out as I was doing my workout. I got to watch my dad get my boy out of the crib and stop my workout and give him a hug. Previously, I would have been at my job. I got to give my wife a kiss before she headed off to volunteer at my daughter Ellie's and my daughter Mila's school class. And she gets to do that 3 times a week. Let's see what else. So many things. After this call, I'm gonna have a steaming hot Epsom bath and I'm gonna do meditation. So I'm gonna take 30 minutes to myself. And my boss isn't gonna be Carl's not gonna be hey dude, you should be writing up a work order right now. I get to do what I want to do with my time. I get to start work when I want to start. I get to end work when I want to start. And there's so many other blessings. Life is so different. I'll just start with last year because we've been doing this for 5 years now. Last year, I took my wife and my 5 kids and we rented an amazing house on the beach in Maui and we stayed there for 2 months. And we swam in the ocean every day. All my kids had learned how to swim without ever having swim lessons just because they were there with me, throwing them in the water and taking them out. And we got to fly my mother and father-in-law. This is all just last year. We flew my mother and father-in-law in. It didn't matter that the flights were $800 a piece. We let them stay in the house with us. We bought my father-in-law. He brought Gabby and his family of 9 from Bolivia when Gabby was 2 years old. And he's worked 3 jobs his entire life. And his mom works, and he just barely retired last year. But they've worked their entire lives recycling soda cans, delivering newspapers, working 3 jobs. And he's a bishop, a leader of his church, and he always gives to other people. And we found out what his dream car was, and he would never buy it because he'll always take care of other people first. And we had him at our house for my daughter's baptism. And we're hey, we're looking at this new vehicle. We want to see, as a father, we want your advice. And we had him pick out a vehicle, and we knew what he liked because we had found this out earlier. And we're what do you think about this one? And we had him look at it. Oh yeah, if I could get a car, this is the one I would get. And we sat down, we made the deal. And when they're ready to sign the title, the salesman passed it over to me, and we passed it over to him. And we said, you put your name on it. This is your car. And just watching his head drop and the tears, I know money's not anything, but being able to give to people, it brings me so much joy and happiness. It's one of the things that means the world to me. And that's all just for the past year. And we already booked a house in Salt Lake City from right after Summit from June to August, where we have a house on the side of the mountain in Salt Lake City, overlooking the city. It has a little swimming pool, little 3-bedroom house. And we're going to spend time there because Gabby loves seeing concerts. And Salt Lake City has musicians every night. We're going to go see Kevin Hart and all of our favorite musicians and spend the summer swimming and around her family in Salt Lake City and being able to go do things that she loves. And so life is much different now. And when I was in Hawaii, and it's going to be similar in Salt Lake, I just got up at 5 o'clock every morning. I crushed my work and got done at 11. And at 11, I would turn off my phone, turn off my laptop, and I would spend from 11 until 10:30 with my kids and my wife, doing swimming, hiking, swinging on vines in the jungles of Maui. And then I would work my ass off from 5 to 11 every day. And that's what life looks like now. So is it different? Much different. So when I say all those sacrifices, like I still work hard. Like I still work hard, but I work 8 hours here. And hard work for me is doing what I'm doing right now for you. Struggling through my workout like I did this morning, doing the booty workout, never hurt my side of my ass cheeks, has never hurt so bad in my entire life. And downing quinoa in the morning, ugh, like I did it. It wasn't pleasant, but I'm still making sacrifices and struggles, and I'm seeing results because of it. And so that, like, if you're happy with where your life's at, then there's no need to complain. But if you're complaining about your life, but you're not working 6-7 days a week or 4 hours a night or getting up at 4 or getting up at 5, and you're complaining about your life or your business isn't where you want to be, then you have no reason to complain until you start making those sacrifices. But if you're happy with where you're at, like you can build a business an hour a day, 2 hours a day, and then be consistent, do the compound effect over 7 years, 10 years, and so forth. But if you're complaining, stop watching Netflix, stop playing video games, stop going out to drink and all of those things, and build the business, or you have no reason to complain. And the one thing I want you guys to, just as I end it, is just to remember that if I can do it, you guys can do it. Like I'm still super awkward. Like if you meet me at Summit, like I'm like I got like 3 questions, and then like Gabby and I have I'm going to tell you something about Gabby and I have a secret code. Like when we're sitting with someone talking, like usually I'm leading the conversation, one of my coaches or a group of people at an event. When I look at her, it means I don't know what to say next because I'm socially awkward, because I'm naturally introverted. Like I would rather be on the snowboard mountain all by myself. I'd rather be playing my guitar in my room for 10 hours. I'd rather be playing Call of Duty or right here by myself. So I'm awkward in that, in a one-on-one situation still. Like I'll outgrow that and I'll overcome it. And it's still a work in progress after 7 years. But realize if you have shortcomings like that, you can grow through them. And you can grow and learn from them. So I want you guys to know that I believe in each and every single one of you guys. You guys are here for a reason. This was placed in your life for a reason. So take it and run with it. Okay, that's it, Ashley.
Oh my gosh, Scotty. So I am like the least emotional person. I'm like the opposite of you, but you brought tears to my eyes like the entire time. I am just so moved, so inspired, and just so thankful that you came and you shared that with us. I think that everybody is reignited. I know that I was motivated to begin with, and now it's just a whole new level. But I am just so impressed with everything that you've done, and I'm going to think about you every morning when I get up super early. But thank you so much. I don't think there are any questions. I know your time is super valuable. So thank you. Thank you for every second of those 60 minutes.
Okay, you're welcome. See you guys.
Bye, guys.